Reactions still continue to trail the controversial 10-year extension of Nigeria's Inspector General of Police Muhammadu Adam by President Major General Muhammadu Buhari, retired. While some have described the actions of the president as illegal and a breach of the Police Act, other Nigerians have kicked, calling it an offensive extension. While the president continued to tread the path of impunity with regards to the rule of law, Nigerians continue to kick back. We also look at these issues. He's a legal practitioner, a human rights activist, and the president, Liberty Habitats Network. Mr. Otuedon Vincent. Barrister, welcome to Sahara TV.
Thank you for having me, sir.
Good, let's go straight to this. The Police Act 2020 expects a police officer to retire upon the attainment of 60 years or after 35 years in service. In the eyes of the law, is Mohammed Adamu still a police officer capable of being appointed in acting or substantive capacity to head Nigeria's police force?
And the capital answer is no. Is just like a dead man having to sign an agreement, or a dead man walking on the streets. It becomes a taboo, because even in medical field, when somebody has expired, it's moved from the hospital bed into the morgue, because at that stage the person has expired. So what we are talking about here is that the IGP's tenure having expired, he has no legal capacity whatsoever to act on behalf of the police. In the eyes of the law, he has become a civilian. The section of the Constitution, section 215, subsection 1A, made it very clear that the appointment of the Inspector General of Police shall be done by the President from among serving police officers. From among serving police officers. Serving, underline. So he does not in any way envisage a situation where a civilian will become an Inspector General of Police, because Section 18 of the Police Act 2020, subsection 8, made it very clear, I cited earlier. Any individual, any police officer who has attained the age of 60 or who has served Nigerian police force for 35 years is statutorily, compulsorily retired. That one does not wait for any pronouncement from any court or from the presidency. That is called compulsory retirement. He has no capacity to step his foot any meter further. So whatever is being done now in the eyes of the law, it has no significance, and that is just the truth. It does not matter who does it; it is insignificant. It has no relevance in the law. In the eyes of the law, there is no IGP for today.
Now, let me take you up on one of your recent opinion piece, where you said that the consequential uncertainty that this system of governance creates is catastrophic and retrogressive. What do you mean by that?
You see, a state, the law, what the law does in a state is a system of certainty. It's a system of coherence. It's a system of consistency. For instance, if a foreigner is about to come into the country for business purposes, what he looks first is the law. He will have to first of all compare the law in the country he's going with his own country. He judges himself by the law. And so, after you have prepared yourself to obey the law, and you now see that in the practice, the law that is in the book is not what is being practiced. And so, and this is the hallmark of military regime, where one man is the lawmaker and the executive, where the man in power is the law. The law in the book has no relevance, and so people don't know what the law will be or what the law is, because the man in power comes up one day and does what he likes. So that system creates uncertainty, and so it makes people to withdraw from coming to invest in the country, and so it is very catastrophic and regressive.
Now, let me also take you up on the fact that when you mentioned the fact that the mischief which the Police Act 2020 was made to cure is the very plague President Buhari has brought upon us, thereby making nonsense of all the innovations of the legislative institution. Doesn't that seem to be an indictment on the legislative arm of government itself?
Certainly so, sir. Certainly so, sir. You see, what we must appreciate is that I don't know what is happening today, that our legislatures, to our greatest surprise, had suddenly flown to the gallery, because you sat down and made these laws. We were elected for the purpose of lawmaking, and we have these numbers of persons who sat down and made these laws, for the entire Nigerians. You know, before any law is taken to the legislature for amendment, there must have been some lapses in the old laws, and then the law is brought to the National Assembly to be updated, to cure the inefficiencies in the law at that time. And now, I won't spend all the time and resources to bring the law into force, and the president even signed it. And the president, at the noonday, just woke up one day and decided to depart from that particular that law. Of what use is the legislature again? Of what use is the legislature? I wonder why the legislature themselves do not even see the implication of what's going on. It's like the institution is no longer, if they are there, it's like you are not part of the system. So that's the angle that I'm looking at it. It made no sense of the legislative institution.
Now, let me also take you up on the statement made by and the argument made by the Minister of Police Affairs, Mr. Digyandi, while briefing journalists at the State House then, that the president had decided that the IGP will continue to serve as the IG to allow for a robust and efficient process of appointing a new IG. Those were his words in quote, as a matter of fact. In other words, the elongation was necessary for proper selection of a new helmsman in the Nigerian police force. One begins to wonder, well, is this doctrine of necessity necessary at this point in time?
Very far from the truth. Very far from the truth. You see, and that's why I said that people need to understand that a democratic regime is not like the monarchical system, where you invoke rules, maybe according to the spirit or the gods. These rules are stated in black and white for accessibility for everybody, because any action in the state must be traceable to law. Whatever does not have the backing of the law cannot stand in the state. The doctrine of necessity is simply invoked when there is a vacuum in the law. So the doctrine of necessity is not in any way applicable in this. I was talking to somebody yesterday. I said, even if the president had wanted to bring the lowest person in the police to be an IGP, he had enough time to have done that. Okay, assuming for any reason that there's a vacuum, he could have asked the most senior police officer to act in an acting capacity first, rather than this affronts on the clear provision of the law. It's really disheartening.
Now, let me get.
Doctrine of necessity is not close to what we are seeing.
You talked earlier on about the arbitrariness of these actions of the president himself. The practice of arbitrary and illegal elongation of statutory tenure of public officers' occupants is beginning to set a dangerous precedent for bureaucracy and national security. Why didn't the president get someone to act in the interim instead of elongating Adams' tenure? Your view, sir?
In fact, we do not even know. I don't even know where this invention is coming from, because it seems to have become part. At the moment, now, if you are in any ministry where either the PAMSEC or the leader is close to retirement now, you begin to think of whether tenure elongation and all that. These are things that were not in the picture before. These are things that were not, in contemplation before, and suddenly, and it's becoming like a pattern. So it becomes necessary that this thing be confronted. And I'm very glad that my association, the NBA, has dragged the president to court, which is very good, because there has to be a stop. There has to be, otherwise, you are setting a very dangerous precedent. In fact, when the president came in the first time, people were talking about body language and body language and body language. The body language that is going across now is very, very dangerous to the states. Because the message that is going to the public now is that there is no law. The law is not relevant. And it's very dangerous. Very, very dangerous. And that's why I said that the institution of the legislature is being made nonsense. It's being rendered as if it does not exist. It is very dangerous. And I'm surprised that the legislators are not even talking.
Vincent, let me also get your perspective on this. Beyond just the NBA suing the president over this tenure elongation of the Inspector General of Police, are there no other ways that these violations can be challenged?
Actually, the court remained the last hope of the common man, because today too, as we have it, protest is becoming an illegal activity in our nation today, which is we don't want to comment on what it does to our conscience, but it's gradually become alien to our democracy today. That the way you are perceived, you see, a lot of things are happening. If we are going to judge by the body language of the president, it's too unfortunate. It's too unfortunate, because the signal is given to the ordinary man on the street is that there is no nation anymore. Because a state is a creation of law. God created human being. Man created a state. And the instrument with which man created the state is the law. Now that you are telling the people that there is no law, you are indirectly telling the people that there is no state anymore, which is very, very dangerous. Very, very dangerous.
Finally, Barrister Vincent, what moves should be made now by relevant authorities to hold the president accountable for violating the constitutional provisions and to prevail on him to do the needful?
The first step is what the NBA has done now. And then we'll keep speaking. We'll keep lending our voice. Unfortunately, the legislation has become what I can't explain for today, because the essence of separation of power or division of power, let me not say separation and division of power, is for check and balances. It's for check and balances. Unfortunately, the legislature has failed us. Let's hope the judiciary will be able to stand up to the task at this moment. Let's hope that the legislature will be able to prove again to Nigeria that they are still in existence. They are still in existence. Because if the judiciary we bow, with due respect, sir, it's going to be most unfortunate. Because today it is still, let believe that the judiciary is going to stand to rescue our democracy. Let's just hope that the judiciary will do just that.
Right, Sir Vincent Otwedong, thank you so much for your insightful analysis and perspective.
You're welcome, sir.
Take care.
Grateful, sir.
Grateful.
Thank you, sir.